Hey, my friend, let me ask you something. Have you ever had that sinking feeling, like watching your team fight tooth and nail, only for everything to come crashing down in the final moments? That's exactly what happened last night. Our Cowboys played their hearts out, only to lose in one of the most heartbreaking ways imaginable. It's tough being a Cowboys fan right now, isn't it? This was supposed to be a turning point, a chance to keep our slim playoff hopes alive. Instead, a few costly mistakes and, you know which one I'm talking about, sent us spiraling further down the standings. Falling to 5-8 on the season hurts, but the way we lost, that's a whole different level of frustration. We've been here before, haven't we? Rooting for this team feels like riding an emotional roller coaster. And last night's game against the Bengals was another steep drop. What makes it worse is knowing how hard the players fought. There were moments where it felt like we could win, but the Bengals found a way to snatch it from us. So, here's the question. Who's to blame for this? Was it coaching, execution, or maybe just plain bad luck? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear what you think. By the way, if you're as passionate about the Cowboys as I am, why not subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell? It's one way we can stick together through these tough times. Plus, we're aiming for 12,000 subscribers, and every bit of support helps. All right, let's break this game down. It's time to dig into the details and relive what went right and what went terribly wrong. Stick with me as we dive into the first half. All right, let's break this down, step by step. The game started with some real promise, didn't it? Winning the coin toss and deferring to the second half felt like the right call, especially when the defense immediately stepped up with a 3-and-out. For a moment, it felt like the Cowboys came ready to play. Then, on our first drive, things got even better. Cooper Rush connected with CeeDee Lamb on a 4th-and-1 for a touchdown. A risky call, sure, but it paid off big time. Admit it, two were starting to believe this could be our night, right? But, as we all know, it's never that simple. Joe Burrow and the Bengals quickly reminded us why they've been so dangerous. They marched 75 yards down the field like it was nothing, with Burrow hitting Jamar Chase for a game-tying touchdown. I don't know about you, but watching that play felt like a punch to the gut. As the first quarter ended, it felt like a real fight was brewing. But then came the second quarter, and that's when things started to go sideways. Cooper Rush, under pressure, threw a tipped ball intended for CeeDee Lamb, and Geno Stone intercepted it. The momentum shifted right there. Even so, the defense held firm on the ensuing Bengals drive. Micah Parsons and DeMarvion Overshone made huge stops on 4th down, giving us some hope. And when Rico Dowdle ran for 34 yards on 3 carries, it looked like we might capitalize. But the drive stalled, and we had to settle for a field goal. Points are points, but against a team like Cincinnati, settling for 3 instead of 7 feels like a loss. From there, the Bengals took control. Burrow evaded pressure all night. Their offense found rhythm, and Chase Brown punched in another touchdown. The Cowboys tried to respond, but ended the half with back-to-back 3-and-outs. Frustrating, isn't it? We deferred the toss, hoping for that double-dip opportunity, but it never came. Let me ask you this. Do you think the offense or the defense deserves more blame for that first half? Vote in the comments. All right, enough dwelling on the start. Let's shift our focus to the second half, where things got even crazier. So, my friend, as frustrating as the first half was, we still had a chance to turn it around. Remember, we deferred that toss, which meant we started the second half with the ball. And for a moment, it felt like the Cowboys were back in business. The opening drive of the third quarter was one of the best sequences of the night. Rico Dowdle carried the offense on his back, with Kaventa Turpin adding some flair. Then Cooper Rush connected with Brendan Cooks for a touchdown. The second week in a row, they found that end zone magic. Admit it, you felt a spark of hope right there. But with this team, hope is always fleeting. Every time the offense gave us something to cheer about, the defense struggled to contain the Bengals' Burrow, and his crew moved the ball almost effortlessly. But then, finally, our miracle happened. Burrow overthrew a pass, and Malik Hooker made the play of the game with an interception. This was the moment, wasn't it? The chance to take control. The Cowboys moved the ball just enough to set up Brandon Aubrey for a 47-yard field goal early in the fourth quarter, giving us the lead again. It felt like we were on the verge of stealing this game. But as we've learned the hard way, the Cowboys always find a way to complicate things. Cincinnati responded with ease, moving down the field yet again. Even worse, DeMarvion, overshown, went down with an injury, a devastating blow to our defense. The Bengals tied the game with a field goal, but the momentum had clearly shifted. Still, we had one last chance. The defense, now missing Overshown, came up big. Maris Liufo stepped in and delivered an incredible blitz, forcing a Burrow fumble that nearly turned the tide. Unfortunately, the Bengals recovered, but at least we forced a punt. This was the turning point, or at least it should have been. Rico Dowdle opened the drive with a huge 14-yard run, and the Cowboys had momentum. But then, in a baffling decision, we abandoned the run entirely. 3 straight incompletions later, we were punting the ball right back to Cincinnati. What do you think? Should we have stuck with the run game in those moments? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Next up, we'll relive the crushing sequence that sealed the loss. Stick with Mitt's tough, but we've got to face it together. All right, my friend, let's get into the part that every Cowboys fan wishes they could forget. The moment when hope turned to heartbreak, when one critical error cost us the game. The defense had just come up with a massive stop, forcing a Bengals punt. For a fleeting moment, it felt like the momentum was shifting back in our favor. But then, disaster struck. Nick Vigil made an incredible play, blocking the punt. It should have been a game-changing moment. Instead, Amani Oruwari touched the ball, making it live, and everything unraveled. The Bengals recovered, and, with new life, capitalized on the opportunity. They marched down the shortened field and punched in a touchdown. Just like that, the game was all but over. Can you believe it? From a blocked punt that could have set us up for the win, to a catastrophic mistake that handed the Bengals the game on a silver platter. Jerry Jones himself was devastated after the game. He called the sequence a turn of events that you couldn't script, second-guessing the entire approach. And honestly, can you blame him? It's moments like these that make you wonder if this team is cursed. Here's the thing, though. Mistakes like this are a reflection of deeper issues. Is it discipline, coaching, or just plain bad luck? Whatever the reason, moments like these have been all too common for the Cowboys in recent years. And as a fan, it's exhausting. Now, I've got to ask you, what would you have done in that situation? Should the team have played it safer? Or was it just an unfortunate fluke? Let's discuss it in the comments. Oh, and if you're still with me, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're here to give you honest takes and real discussions about our Cowboys. Hit that notification bell too, so you never miss a video. This loss was brutal, no doubt about it. But as always, there are lessons to be learned and frustrations to be vented. Next, let's look ahead to what this means for the team moving forward. How do we recover from this? And what changes need to happen? So, here we are, my friend. Another tough loss, another round of questions without easy answers. Sitting at 5-8, the playoffs are a long shot at best. But honestly, would you even feel confident about this team in the postseason with performances like this? Let's face it, the Cowboys need to take a hard look in the mirror. The lack of discipline in crucial moments, the inconsistent play calling, and the repeated inability to close out winnable games are all issues that go beyond just one game. It's a pattern, and patterns don't change without real accountability. Jerry Jones's comments after the game hint at frustration from the top, but frustration alone doesn't solve anything. It's time to question some of the decisions being made. Should we reevaluate our coaching? Should certain players be held more accountable for their mistakes? The clock is ticking, and if this organization wants to turn things around, they need to act fast. Now, I want to hear from you. If you were in Jerry Jones's shoes, what would you do next? Would you make changes on the coaching staff? Focus on building for the future? Or do you still think this season can be salvaged? Let me know in the comments. As fans, we're passionate because we care. This team has so much potential, but potential without results is just wasted talent. We deserve better, don't we? If you've been nodding along in agreement, this is your cue to subscribe to the channel. Join our community of fans who want to see real change and real success for our Cowboys. Together, we can keep the conversation going and push for a brighter future. Up next, we'll wrap things up by reflecting on what this loss says about the season as a whole and where our beloved Cowboys stand in the NFL landscape. Stay with me, this isn't over yet. All right, my friend, let's step back and take a hard look at the bigger picture. This loss to the Bengals isn't just about one game. It's a reflection of a season full of missed opportunities, costly mistakes, and a team that just can't seem to find its rhythm. At 5-8, the Cowboys are staring at another year of mediocrity. And for a franchise with this much history and fan support, that's unacceptable. We've seen flashes of greatness. The talent is there. But talent alone doesn't win games. Execution, preparation, and mental toughness do. And those have been glaring weaknesses all season long. The heartbreaking loss to Cincinnati encapsulates everything wrong with this team right now. A strong start that gives us hope. A second half rally that reignites our belief. And a crushing mistake that takes it all away. How many times have we been here before? So, where do we stand in the NFL landscape? Honestly, we're stuck in limbo. Too talented to be rebuilding, but too flawed to compete with the elite. And that's the most frustrating place to be as a fan. Now, I want you to think about this season as a whole. What's been the most frustrating part for you? Is it the coaching, the inconsistency? Or maybe it's just the feeling that this team isn't living up to its potential. Share your thoughts in the comments. This is your space to vent. And trust me, we're all feeling it together. Before we wrap up, make sure you've subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell. We're in this for the long haul, and we'll keep bringing you honest, passionate takes on everything Dallas Cowboys. Together, let's hold this team accountable and keep pushing for the greatness we know they're capable of. Thanks for sticking with me through this tough recap. Let's hope for better days ahead. Until next time, stay strong, Cowboys Nation. We deserve better.